What is she doing? Oh, hi. Okay. What? I don't get it. Chapter 18, Calling on Dragons. This is for Ryan as well, in which they concoct a plan. What is this? How do you speak? I'm just going to read. Simmering looked at Morwen, frowning. Rope? I think so. Why? So we can tow Killer, Morwen said. Between the laundry basket and the broomstick, we should have plenty of power, and we'll be able to go a lot faster now that we're out of the trees. Oh, good idea, Brandel said. It's a pity you didn't think of it sooner. We've got plenty of rope back at the tower. I don't know about this, Killer said. It doesn't sound very comfortable. Do you want to run all the way to Vamma's house, Morwen said. That's your other choice. Take it or leave it. Killer took it, but not without grumbling the whole time they spent rigging a harness for him and tying it to the laundry basket and broomstick. This is undignified, he complained, as he prepared to start off once more. What's so dignified about a 6-foot floating blue donkey with oversized wings? Said Scorn. I'm very... Help! Slow down! Oh, I knew this was a bad idea. Rabbits weren't meant to go this fast. Morwen glanced back and almost laughed. Killer hung at the end of the tow ropes, all 4 feet braced against the air, which did him no good whatsoever. His wings and ears streamed behind him in the wind. On his back, barely visible between the blue ears and feathers, Scorn and Horatio lay flat, with their claws dug into the rope harness. Smiling, Morwen turned back to concentrate on flying the broomstick. Despite Killer's loud complaints, by her standards, they were not traveling particularly fast. Between the extra weight on both broom and basket and the energy it took to pull Killer, Morwen estimated their speed at about a third of her usual rate. Still, it was much faster than walking, especially over the open meadows that stretched ahead of them. I can't believe this. This is the wonderful force that's coming to defeat the wizards. It's these guys. I love it. They had gone several miles, and Killer's objections had degenerated into occasional terrified brays when Brundle slowed the laundry basket. Morwen matched his reduction in speed, and a moment later they landed in a small stand of trees near the top of a hill. That's enough of that, Killer said. I don't care if you want to get there quickly. I don't care if I have to run. I don't care if those wizards turn me into a pancake and eat me for breakfast. I'm not doing that again. You won't have to, Brandel said, climbing out of the laundry basket. Vamist's house is over this hill and down the road about a quarter of a mile. He looked at Simmering a little apologetically. I know you'd rather be closer, but with him making all that noise... You'd make noise, too, if you were being hauled along 3 times as fast as any reasonable rabbit should go, Killer said unrepentantly. Well, you're not being pulled anywhere now, so be quiet, Simmering said. If you do anything that messes up our getting Mendenbar's sword, I'll turn you into a pancake and eat you myself. You can't do that, Killer's ears jerked nervously. Can you? I can try. Killer will behave himself. Morwen looked at her cats. Scorn and Trouble will see to it. And between keeping Killer out of mischief and acting as lookouts, the cats might actually have so much to do that they wouldn't get up to anything unfortunate. She hoped. Simmering nodded and turned to Brandel. How easy will it be to sneak up on this house without being seen? It shouldn't be too difficult, Brandel replied. There are a lot of trees and bushes around the house. Let's go then. What about these? Brandel asked, waving at the empty laundry basket and broomstick. Leave the basket here, Morwen said. It's too awkward to carry, and I can always enchant you. I can always enchant another one for you when this is all over. I'll take the broomstick, in case Simmering and I need to get away quickly. Then we're ready, Simmering said. Let's go. Oh, boy. Twisting his rings absently, Telemaine nodded and started up the hill. The rest followed in silence. No one seemed to feel much like talking as they went up over the hill and down the tree-lined lane on the other side. A few minutes later, Randall stopped and looked at Simmering. Vamma's house is just around the bend. If you and Morwen cut through these bushes and head off to the right, you should come out in his backyard. Good, said Morwen. Scorn, Trouble, run ahead and find out which room the sword is in and where Antrel and Vammis are. Don't forget to come back and let me know. We are amateurs, Scorn said, switching her tail. Right, said Trouble. And Kazul's not here, so I get first crack at the wizard. He stood up and stretched to show that it wasn't all that important. And vanished into the bushes. I don't know why you care so much about the wizard, Scorn said, following. That obnoxious idiot with no hair is the one I want dibs on. The things he said. Frowning, Morwen looked after her cats. When we get back, I'm going to have to make one of them tell me just what Arona Vammis said when he called the other day. Scorn is really annoyed. You are meow, said Horatio, and began washing his left front paw. Thank you for contributing, Horatio. A few minutes later, the 2 cats returned. Vammis and Aunt Terrell are in a big room with glass doors at the side of the house, Trouble reported. They've got the sword on the table and they're arguing. Arguing, said Morwen, about what to do with the sword. Vamis thinks the Society of Wizards should stick it into a rock and leave it somewhere because that's traditional, but Antrell says that's only for important swords that are supposed to be found again. I don't think he knows what the sword does, or else he doesn't want it found, said Scorn. We'll see about that. Morwen turned to the others. Trouble says things haven't changed much since we saw them in the mirror. Cimarine and I will leave now. Killer, you come with us. She looked at Telemaine. You two get ready, and I'll send Scorn to signal you when to knock on that door. Good luck, Telemaine said, and the two groups started off in different directions. Oh boy. Sneaking up on Aronavamis' house was much easier than Morwen had expected. The garden at the rear of the house was wildly overgrown, so there were plenty of shrubs to hide behind, and most of the windows were covered with dense vines. As far as Morwen could tell, all anyone would be able to see out of those windows were the backsides of leaves. As they approached, Scorn vanished under a scraggly chrysanthemum. She returned a moment later. They're still arguing. The doors are over here on the left. Oh, it's happening. Morwen translated for Cimarine, who nodded and murmured, Good. Killer, you stay here, and don't eat anything. And Aronavamis consorts with wizards, so there's no telling what he has in his garden. Weeds, mostly. It looks as if he hasn't paid attention to it in years, Morwen thought, but this was no time to say so, because Killer would eat. He would eat. She looked at Scorn and said softly, As soon as we're next to the doors, go round to the front so Telemaine and Brandel will know when to knock. Oh, boy. No problem, said Scorn. And don't forget to come back when they've seen you, Trouble said. You don't want to get left behind. Scorn looked at him. I won't be left behind. Telemaine's the one who's doing the transport spell. Enough. Excuse me, said Morwen. Do your jobs and argue about it later. Oh, boy. She started toward the corner of the house. Are you going to be long, said Killer. Keep your voice down, Cimarine whispered. I don't know, so stay alert. We're going to be leaving in something of a hurry. Trouble snorted. There's an understatement. Cautiously, they edged up to the corner, leaving Killer to watch anxiously from among the vines. Long ago, someone had built a stone patio along the far side of the house, with a flower border along the south edge, and a row of tall bushes to the west for privacy. Now, weeds and grass grew in the cracks between stones. The bushes were an untidy mass of prickly twigs, and the flower border was full of thistles. Cimarine and Morwen had to step carefully to avoid being stuck. Scorn directed them to a spot that was in easy reach of the glass doors, but still out of sight. As soon as they were in position, Trouble insinuated himself between the vines and the wall of the house and crept around the corner and out of sight. He's ready, said Scorn after a minute. See you later. She threw Morwen a soft blink of affection and disappeared into the unpruned hedge. The wait that followed seemed to last hours. Morwen could feel Cimarine's tension, and she was not exactly calm herself. Planning to avoid a direct confrontation with any wizard, even if it was only Aunt Terrell, was all very well, but there was no guarantee that the wizard would cooperate. She fingered her sleeves, wishing that witches' spells did not take such a long time to perform, or that there was some way of storing them for quick use, the way wizards did. The ivy trembled, and an instant later Trouble appeared. They've left the room, both of them, and the sword is just sitting on the table. Did you spot any alarm spells? Morwen asked. Nope. Trouble lashed his tail. This sounds too easy. But Morwen turned to Cimarine anyway and said, They're gone. Then let's go. Cimarine stepped over a patch of gigantic dandelions onto the ruined patio, and Morwen followed. Together they crossed to a set of double doors made of small rectangular window panes, 8 down and 4 across on each other. Cautiously, Morwen tried the handle. With a sharp click, the latch opened, and the right-hand door popped half an inch inward. They looked at each other, and without a word they leaned forward to peer through the nearest window pane. The room looked just as empty of people as Trouble had claimed, though it was rather full of other things. Ornate chairs lined the walls. Most of them had things piled on their seats. One held a stack of books, another a clay pot filled with dirt, a third a stuffed pigeon sitting on a stringless violin. 2 dusty suits of armor holding spears stood on either side of the far door, and the walls were covered with cobwebby pictures. In the center of the room was a large table, with 2 chairs pulled out crookedly from opposite sides, as if the occupants had gotten up quickly. In the center of the table, shiny and positively reeking of magic, lay an unsheathed sword. Cimarine looked at Morwen and sighed. It must be a trap. But that's Mendenbar's sword in there for certain, and we have to try to get it. I don't think we're going to have much time. Any suggestions? Quit fussing and go get this silly thing, Trouble said. Are you volunteering to be first in line? Morwen asked. Why not? Oh, God. Trouble rose on his back legs and set his front paws against the unlatched door. As it swung inward, he dropped on all fours once more and sauntered through. He paused just out of reach, glanced around, and then took a short running start and leapt onto the table. Looking very smug, he twitched his tail and sat down on the hilt of the sword. Of course he looks smug. I should have known better, Morwen muttered. Well, at least we know he was right about the alarms. If there were any, the performance would have set them off. Then from the front of the building, oh no, came a loud, angry yowl, carrying easily over and around the intervening walls. Trouble jumped to attention, straddling the sword, and Morwen took a worried half-step toward the sound before she caught herself. The sword is the important thing right now, she reminded herself, but she couldn't quite make herself believe it. That's torn it. Shoving the door the rest of the way open, Cimmerian darted inside. Morwen had no real choice except to follow. Drat, she said, and did so. As Cimmerian ran across the 2 yards of open space that separated the doors and the table, Morwen felt a ripple of magic in the air. Oh no! Ugh! Cimmerian stopped, she said, but she was not quite in time. The ripple hit Cimmerian and froze her motionless, one hand stiffly extended toward the hilt of Mendenbar's sword. Ugh, said Cimmerian, I can't move. Morwen, what's happened? Can you do something about it? I am what has happened, said a new voice, and one of the suits of armor shifted and began to change. Its hard edges blurred and darkened, and its feet and legs spread out into a long robe. The spirit held lost its head and shrank a foot and a half. Last of all, the face came clear. Aunt Rel, said Cimmerian. Exactly, the wizard said with an evil grin. I don't think there's anything at all that your witchy friend can do about me. Morwen's eyes narrowed. We'll see about that. She pointed at him and said firmly, Arglefraster. Nothing happened. Oh, it's the end. What? To see the chap? That's rude. That's so rude. It's so rude. Oh, at least I get to read immediately. I'm going to go do that.